All right, I'm here in Durban, South Africa, and I'm on the coast of the Indian Ocean, believe it or not. And one thing that I want to say is this: that you can find anything in Africa, anything. So if you're looking for whatever, the Western vibe or whatever, you find it. I tell people all the time, you don't have to leave Africa to find America or Europe. Only thing you might not get in Africa, you might not get Chipotle, you might not get Chick-fil-A, and do you really even need them? You know, that's the thing. But I'm just sitting here, and I'm looking behind me, and I'm looking at all of just this whole place is a part of what Africa has to offer. And just like I was in the Gambia a few days ago, and I mean, like right here, it's getting close, it's getting close. Whoa, that thing is getting right up on it, brother. Isn't that something? I'm right here. And the only reason why I have my jacket on is to kind of cut down on the wind on the microphone. So my mic is right in there, and I'm not trying to have y'all contend with the wind. You might still be dealing with it, I don't know at this point. But, when they paint the picture saying that, that Africa's all these bad things and don't go and here, let me zip myself up because I have a feeling that wind might be cutting through. There we go. It ain't cutting through now. How about that? But that's part of, they say this because they don't want you to come see this. And I'm not talking about the fact that it's quote unquote developed. I think the term developed is something that we have to be mindful of because what is developed? Is it the electricity, the amenities? Is that what equates to development from a Western standpoint? I don't know. I mean, maybe that's what it is. I mean, when here's something that is very familiar for me. When I come to like South Africa in particular, it's very familiar because this part of South Africa, I should say, is very Western. And it's not that that's a bad thing. It's what I grew up in the Western world. I grew up in Western culture. I'm used to Western amenities. And so when I find things that are familiar, I enjoy those things. That's a part of who I am. So sometimes what happens is people try to get you to deny that aspect of it. I like things to happen at a certain pace. Now, this does not mean that I'm not adaptable and I can't go and learn how to modify certain aspects of culture. And that's what I believe has caused me to grow so much over the past several years, is because just like I can feel comfortable in a place like Durban or Johannesburg, I can also feel just as comfortable in a place like the Gambia or Accra or Nairobi or Lagos or Dakar or Wida or Addis Ababa, or Zanzibar. Once you learn and understand how this whole thing is played out, you can see the beauty of the entire continent and all of what it has to offer, and not one aspect is more superior than the other. So there are just certain things that people prefer, and that's a personal preference, which is fine. But I think what I have a problem is where everyone is now trying to, or not everyone, but where we're trying to say that the best way to be is Western, and Western amenities and all of that are the best way to be. But I found some of the most beautiful, peaceful places to be without those Western amenities. And that's just, again, that's me. I didn't want to be that person who would come to Africa looking for America and then complaining about the different parts of Africa that might not have all of the amenities of America. But then at the same time, I can appreciate the places that do have Western amenities because that's what I'm most familiar with. So that's something that anybody, just human nature, is something familiar, you normally have an appreciation for it. So that's why I said one of the things we do with Maximum Impact Travel, we give everybody the opportunity to experience it all. When I'm in Egypt and I'm sitting down and eating the food in Egypt and feeling very comfortable I'm not sitting there saying, oh man, they need to be more Americanized. They need to be more westernized. They need to have more things like this in order for them to be up to par. When there's nothing wrong with what they have. Why am I not willing to make adjustments within myself and appreciate their culture? And that's a part of what traveling does. Whether you go to Asia, Europe, wherever, you begin to learn. Well, this is me, I should say. I can't speak for anybody else. But I began to learn how to appreciate all of those aspects of the different cultures and not look as though my processed food, my microwave food, my genetically modified food, my all of that stuff is somehow better. When I was in the Gambia, had the best oranges. Oh my. The best oranges I've had in my life. There's some of the places where I've had in Ghana, some of the best mangoes I've had in my life. And so while things may be different from what I'm accustomed to, that does not diminish the beauty. And that's why I encourage people to see. And that's why I encourage people who are indigenous to the continent to continue to embrace what you have. Because the wealth of the world comes from this continent. So whether you want the Western vibe, you can get it here. Whether you want a different kind of vibe, you can get it here. Whatever it is that you're looking for, you can find it on the continent of Africa. And that's one of the reasons why so many people are beginning to and willing to explore it, because they're like, wait a minute, this is not what they put on them late night TV shows telling us to send $30 a month, and they're taking 70% of it to pad their little pockets. This isn't what they want to show, because they want us to stay away. They want us to send the money but stay away. Or they want to keep us on our respective plantations, whether it be the U.S. or somewhere in Europe, continuing to build up their economies, but they don't want us to bring the money here until they're ready for it. Until they now say, we're going to start building it up. Now they'll start extending invitations and all of that. So this is just my first talk from Durban, South Africa. I'm going to go to Cape Town, then I'm going to go to Johannesburg, and I'm going to put all of this together. My whole journey I'm going to put together in a nice video so you can see how much I've transformed as a person, how my mindset has shifted and is constantly shifting on a daily basis, unapologetically shifting on a daily basis, and why places like this, you owe it to yourself to see places like the Gambia, Senegal, Ghana, Togo, Nigeria, Cote d'Ivoire. You owe it to yourself to see and experience that culture. Oh, this you're getting real close. It's like high tide coming in. See right over here? High tide coming in. I know if I'm here in the, oh, look at that right there. I keep hanging around here. It's going to get me in a minute. I keep sticking out here on these rocks. That thing will come right over there. You know, they only take that one good wave and whoosh, the next thing you know. So anyway, more on the way from Durban, South Africa, and more coming from the Maximum Impact Travel Experience, and continuing to embrace this beautiful continent of Africa. On the way, more on the way. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share.